maybe we can like face each other a little bit. So we've been talking about Course in Miracles, right? And how rather our perception is based on our physicality. So like this is just a function of the body, and we can not only alter our perception, change our perception, but that's a state of like healing for us, because then we can move past what we've maybe experienced in the past. We can start to look forward to something in the future or something better for ourselves. So we don't have to stay stuck in whatever state is, you know. So that's just like with us, right? So like we just got to Bali a couple of days ago. Yes. And this is something that we've been wanting to do and talking about for years now. I think even before I met you, and we've been together 10 years, I've been talking about how I want to experience different parts of the world, live in different parts of the world. And it took a lot of changing my perception of what my reality is and what I create out of my reality to get me here to the point that we are today, sitting in beautiful Bali having this conversation. And that's why we're bringing this forth to you all, because you don't have to take the 10 years, the 20 years, the 40 years, right?
Yeah.
So we're just sharing with you some of our story, how we got here, and how A Course in Miracles also helps us move through this experience.
Yeah, it's A Course in Miracles correlates with all of life.
Yeah.
So no matter what part you're talking about, you mentioned this multiple times in the study group, like every single verse is a mic drop.
Yeah.
And every single verse can tie into something that, of course, we perceive as humans here on planet Earth. And with that correlation, I find it so important because the Course in Miracles also gives us teaching and guidance. And when it comes to growth and growth in general, for me, I've noticed that change has a big thing to do with that. And
Change has a big thing to do
with growth.
yeah.
When things change, you grow. When stuff stays the same, you stay the same. Everything remains in this single plane.
Are you speaking of change as perception? Is that what you're saying?
It's reality as well. A location change, that's growth. You know, you had to take certain steps to get you to be able to be comfortable with going somewhere else, but also on the subtle level as well in your mind.
Yeah.
So that's where A Course in Miracles really shines, because it also, it goes deeper into the mind and can teach you things subliminally as you go through it.
Yeah.
At least for me.
So as far as perception goes, right? And I know that's in the course, but if we can just like speak about perception in our lives and how it's manifested different ways, whether we enjoyed that experience or not, what can you say in regard to perception in that way?
Perception for me, has a lot to do with how we live our everyday lives, how you see the world, how I see the world. We're in the same world, seeing things completely different. So perception, whether good or bad or true or false, it's all just what our minds have culminated.
Yeah.
It's what we made up.
Yeah, so like through life in general, right? Your growing years, who do you learn from? Your parents. You start to learn from society. You start to learn like from culture, who you should be, how you should act, you know, what life should or should not look like for you. And we're from America. And
USA.
there is this American dream that, you know, the house, the good job, the benefits, you know, that's the thing. Like, that's the ideal picture that people go towards.
Yeah.
And that was something that we did.
Yes.
We had the house.
We did.
Beautiful, big, nice house.
Lovely
we had
home.
the house. We had the job. We had
Yes.
the benefits.
All of the
and,
things.
you know, we realized as well that that wasn't for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what are some of the things that, you know, made that shift for you to say, okay, this is maybe not how I want to live my life. You know, I've done this thing in this way that society has kind of told me to do, and you know, maybe you're not feeling fulfilled, or you know, what was it for you that helped you to step into the next thing?
Well, it started with a big change. I was doing amazing. I had an amazing corporate job. I had a house. I had the benefits. I had the everything, just like you said. And I don't want to say something felt like it was missing, because that was all I had known, right? Your parents teach you to be a functioning member of society. That's what it is to be an American, you know? And it wasn't until I tried something different, which, you know, may sound a little strange, but I actually didn't get into reading, as you know, until like a couple years ago, maybe like 2-3 years ago. So before that, I was like, why would I read? I could just watch the movie, I could just watch a show. And I picked up a book. And then not only did I pick up a book, so I read that book, and it was just like a regular storytelling book. And then I learned about self-help books. I didn't even know that was a genre. So for me, opening my mind into the self-help realm made me realize things within me that I wanted to change. And so change came with opening a book and realizing that this life that I had created up to that point really wasn't what I wanted. Because, you know, I go on vacation and I have all these great times, but I end up going right back to the job. And that wasn't doing it for me anymore. And the books helped me realize my actual potential, because I didn't know any of these things. I didn't know that I had a resistance to change until it was time for me to change. And, you know, up to that point, I thought everything was great. But for me, it all changed with reading. As cliche as that may sound, but yeah. What about you?
I think it's always been a part of me, knowing that I didn't want to live the norm. I don't look normal, do I? According to most people. It's always been a part of me. I read a lot too when I was younger, and actually all my life I've read a lot. So that helped to open me up to a lot of different things, a lot of different possibilities. And then, you know, with traveling, not only within the US, but outside of the US, and just seeing like not only what life is like in other places, because to be honest, like everyone is like living, eating, sleeping, you know, working. Everyone is doing something, but in a different way. And so that's been interesting to me. And then focusing on and then figuring out like, okay, so what does that mean for me? Like, so if I'm gonna eat, sleep, work some kind of way, like how could I be happy in that, and what would make me happy in that? So like when you're going through school, it's always, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up, right? And then you also don't have like many avenues or really ideas to think about. And it's so interesting because like you see workers in their fields, right? But as a child in school, you don't recognize those are roles. You know, the thing you hear is the dentist, the doctor, those are the things that you really hear, but you don't see, like, you don't know that you can be a trash man if you wanted to. Now, that's not for me, but you don't see that. You don't see that you can be what we're doing here right now, just having a conversation. You don't see these things. You don't see that how you can actually be maybe a radio host. You don't really see these things. And this ties perfectly back into the course and this idea of perception, right? And how that can change and that can be healed, because you could maybe grow up in a place or feel like you're in a certain place where maybe you feel like something greater or something better isn't meant for you, or it's not for you. And that's just not the way that things are, thankfully. Thankfully, we live in an abundant, giving world that allows us to choose,
Yes.
what we want to do. And that is a lot with perception. Like, some people even say that, oh, I can't choose something different because this is what I have to do. But that in itself is a choice. You're keeping your mind and your body in a certain kind of space to where you're the one telling yourself that you can't change, you can't make the difference. And it's not until you start shifting that mindset and gaining some clarity around that you start to say, I can travel. I started seeing travel and make money, kind of thing. And I'm just like, what? So you think like, oh, well, how do I do this? Like, do I need to be a guest at a hotel? Do I need to be a photographer? Again, there's so many different avenues that any one of us can take, but it all begins with that perception. And then, yeah.
A lot of that also comes with any change of any kind. There is an introspection that happens,
Yeah.
right? Because we're perceiving that, oh, I didn't even know you could be a trash man. I didn't even know. That was our perception, because what they're showing is the prestigious doctor. They're showing the dentist, as you mentioned, all these things.
And the guy, the stock exchange guy.
Right. You want to be in stocks. You want to, they give you a blueprint without you even knowing.
Yeah.
And what comes with that is beliefs that get put into you that weren't originally yours.
Right.
And that's where your now perception, you're seeing it through the eyes of what they've given you.
Yeah, these lenses that
Right.
have been placed.
Right. And in order to get past that comes forgiveness.
Right.
Because now I'm aware, right? Now I'm aware that this blueprint has been thrust upon me. Like,
Right.
you gave me these ideas, you gave me
Yeah.
these beliefs, and that's just what it is. So now that I can accept that, I can really forgive myself. And forgiveness in the sense of appreciating that I was able to even see that this was happening, and be willing to live in my truth and where I want to be and what I want to do and where I want to go.
Right.
Forgiveness in that sense for me, because you could see it, and you could see someone and travel, and you could see somebody traveling and be like, oh man, I'd love to do that. That sounds so cool, but I just can't.
That's not for me.
Or you could take a step back, go inside, and see, is this really something that I want?
Yeah.
Forgive what's been taught and build from your own beliefs. And first of all, this sounds easy. Oh, yeah. For us, it took X amount of years. But forgiveness has a lot to do with that. Forgiving not only yourself for accepting the beliefs that were put onto you, but also forgiving the system that did it to you.
Yeah.
You no longer hold me in this space that was created for me to do what you wanted.
Right.
And that's okay.
That is okay.
Because
that is okay.
I've broken free. So.
And I know that we're talking a lot about travel, and but that's just like what we wanted to do.
Right. It's so fresh too.
You know. And we've traveled, but this is like more long term. And I just want to speak to a little bit on perception in maybe like a different kind of way and understanding, because I think also like travel can seem very far-fetched for a certain group of people, right? It can seem like how you mentioned, like, oh, I can't do that, you know? But even if you look at like wherever you are, because everything is the same. Everything is the same, but wherever you actually are, you know, if you look at everything as like as a choice and an option, right? That you've been given a choice and an option. Part of you being a human being is to be able to make choices between options. You know, if you think about any regular animal, like they're looking for food and reproduction, right? But we have brains, we have minds, we can think, we can orchestrate. There's so many things that we can do. And again, we're here just living a life, right? And you get to choose whichever way that is. Now, granted, it might not be tomorrow everything is different. Like, yes, there may be some steps that need to be in place for you to get to that place that you want to be, but it is possible. And that's the whole thing with perception. And that's a lot about what we learn in A Course in Miracles as well, is all about the lens that you look at things through. So you can be in a limited space or you can be in a limitless space, and that's all within the mind.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, free will.
Right.
Hashtag free will.
Yeah.
And with that, once I recognize that I really do have free will, like I can do whatever I choose to, that's when reframing came along.
Yeah.
Because now that I can choose, now I'm seeing things in the way that I see them to be. I'm reframing them to fit me and what I want and what I need and how I want and how I need. So that comes along with healing those perceptions. You know, like you said, we're talking a lot about travel, but it's because it's so fresh right now. We've been here for 3 days now? This is the third day?
I think this is the third day.
This is the third day we've been in Bali after a huge move from America. So it's so here, but the perception is outside of America in these other countries, it's run down, it's trashy, you'll get sick. They don't have good health care, all these things. And I don't want to rant about that. But when I reframed and was like, but I don't know that. I haven't been.
One, you don't know that.
I haven't been.
Two, if you're keeping yourself in good health.
Which they're not. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story. But a lot of it has to do with relinquishing versus taking responsibility. So there's a lot of people who's like, oh, well, because you're told this and you're told that, then that's what you have to do and that's the route that you have to take, or that's just the way that things work, right? And that's you're relinquishing your power at that point. You're giving up and you're just saying, here, you take the reins, this is your life to control. But when you start taking that responsibility back, you start being accountable to yourself. You start taking charge of your actions, what you're doing, what you're not doing. That in itself is like burst
Yeah.
of opportunity.
Yeah.
Burst of opportunity because,
Sure.
you know, specifically to your point about healthcare, right? You can choose which food you eat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can say, hey, let me pay $1 for a cheeseburger at McDonald's that you know is not good for you. I mean, we all know. We all know. But it's like, oh, that's a quick and that's a cheap option, right? Okay, so you pay now or you pay later?
Mm-hmm.
You pay for the healthier bit now, like, no, let me actually get, instead of like that nasty crappy burger, let me actually go either to a store and get the burger or go have a real burger at another location, you know? One that's not going to do as the damage that fake, probably processed, really over processed food is doing for you. And so, like, it could not be also a burger. It could be, hey, let me have fruit, let me have some vegetables, you know, and that's how you can take your rights back, your power back from, oh, I need to have this insurance and I need to be, you know, in a great healthcare system because da da da. But if you're taking care of yourself, your body, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, like spiritually, all the ways, then you need less and less of this thing that they're telling you that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, there's accidents that happen, you know, there are times that you do need like this system, this medical care, which I'm not discounting at all. That's not what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
We are just talking about perception and choice and, you know, removing or getting rid of, relinquishing your power and taking it back,
Yeah.
because source energy has granted you the same that you have, that I have, that source has, that any and every other body around you has.
Yeah. There's an example that I use so often because it hit me so hard. When we were going to Unity Church of the Hills in Austin, Texas, there was a minister. Her name was Christina.
Kristen, yeah.
Kristen. Minister Kristen. She gave the example of, and this blew my mind with perception. Now, she said it in a whole different context, but
And
it
this is
opened,
where we were open to Course in Miracles to begin with. was
yes,
this place. Yeah.
Unity Church of the Hills. If there's one near you, try it. But she gave this example, this visual example of perception, which was, I have a watermelon, and I cut it in half, right through the middle, and I hold it up to you. And on your side, you see dark green lines and light green lines, and it's this hard exterior. And then on my side, I see this juicy red with black seeds, so ready to be eaten. And I'm like, here, take a bite. And you're like, I literally can't. Like, it's hard. I can't get my mouth around it. There's no traction. Like, I can't do anything with that. It's not that you were incorrect. That was your perception of this same incident. So I use that example a lot because it's such a visual. It like really changed my perception and reframing on what I think is a good situation, a bad situation, a tough situation, an extraordinary situation. And that's also what the course goes through.
Yeah.
It goes through everything is the same.
Everything.
There is nothing higher nor lower than anything else. There just is. And what you saw was a watermelon, what I saw was a watermelon. It was both the same thing in a different context. Like,
Yeah.
that is what perception can do. You're given this here, I'm giving this to you, and the way you receive it is up to you. Do you take it at face value, or do you turn the watermelon over and you observe it, you smell it, you do all these things and determine what's right for you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
I would say also with that, like you're saying with the part of the watermelon and flipping it and turning it, that just reminded me of like the different experiences that each and every one of us have. Like some of us are maybe given more financially than others. Maybe some, you know, is more easily accessible to the internet or easily accessible to learning a book, as you mentioned. Maybe some people have more access to those things, and some people have less access to those things. But again, it's like depends on the way you look at things
yeah.
and what you expect out of them as well. What you want to gain, what you can gain from whatever this thing is that you're mentioning. And it doesn't matter where you're starting on the board. What matters is, are you moving?
Yeah. Yeah. And small steps matter. Okay?
A lot.
Just to go back to kind of what you were saying about the food choices. Let's say, you know, because that's a very controversial thing. The dollar sandwich versus the $7 salad, in America at least, right? I can't afford the $7. Okay? Baby steps. Get your burger without the bun. That leaves all of the enriched flour and all of the processing that it takes for them to make the bun, and it leaves the meat, the lettuce, the tomato. Small things.
Yeah.
Small things. The book situation. The free book libraries are popping up left and right. There's one in my mom's neighborhood, and
One in my mom's neighborhood.
you can just pick up a book for free.
A library.
For free. You can get a library card
Library
for free.
cards. I've never seen where you had to pay for one. You can get
Yeah.
a free library card
In America.
everywhere.
Yeah. So,
There's
Small
movies,
changes.
there's documentaries, there's books, there's learn a language, there's
magazines,
magazines,
comic
there's
books.
comics, there's literally information on any and everything. It depends on what you want to go in there and look at.
They probably have A Course in Miracles.
They probably do.
You can probably pick up a copy of A Course in Miracles from your local library. And in the digital age, if they don't have it in the physical library, I don't want to say I'm sure, but it's very likely that you could get a digital ebook copy of A Course in Miracles.
You can just go on A Course in Miracles, website
Yeah.
and view it right there online
Yeah.
in itself. So, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we kind of started getting into some good stuff here. This is what you can expect when you join our classes, our study group that we have on Saturdays. Feel free to come and join us. We speak a lot to just our experience, as well as, it's a good space where people can offer how they're experiencing and what they're experiencing, and just learning through A Course in Miracles, through like the action and living when you choose to live through something and to live in a way that is meaningful to you. So I hope that you do decide to come and join us and learn more of the teachings from A Course in Miracles and connect with some like-minded folks.
Yeah.
We a little bit of queer, we a little bit of BIPOC, we a little bit of a lot of things, so
With that, woo!
butterfly.
Oh, I thought it was they have these huge hornets out here. Goodness. But with that, it's not just us talking in our study group. It is a community. So first of all, to be a part of this, we want to start you off right. You got to join the community. You've got to join the community. And the community is somewhere where, of course, we host all the video learnings that we have every week. We put the replays on there. But it's also a place to connect. Like, it's not intended to be just Victoria and Destinē talking the entire time, it's a movement of like-minded individuals who want to learn and have the drive and want to grow in places and get different perspectives, so that maybe your perception can change, you know? So
It's a portal, a gateway that you are welcome to enter. So
yeah.
thank you so much, Victoria, for your time. And thank you for watching. Catch the next video and make sure you join the community. We'll leave the link probably down below.
Yes.
I'll see you there.
Peace.
See you on the inside.
And much
Love to you.
Yay. It was nice. Yeah. All right, let's stop it before your phone.